it's not, you know, the V-Strom, I could ride aggressively and fast, but this one I don't feel like riding aggressively and fast. It's more like an adventure bike, so which is exactly why it makes a lot of sense for people. This is the type of bike too that I enjoy riding through the city because it sounds so good. It sounds really good to hear the engine echoing on in buildings, and people just kind of like, whoa, what kind of bike is that? That sounds like a big dirt bike. Kawasaki did cheap out a little bit. It wouldn't kill them to put like a digital dash in these bikes, especially this new redesign. It's very cheap looking in the dash, but it's something I expect out of Kawasaki. They keep things simple, you know. But 2017, it's kind of hard to understand like why for the American markets they don't have fuel injection. But of course, and that's a weird move from Kawasaki to drop the KLR 650 and then for 2 years not do anything, and then all of a sudden they bring back the KLR 650 almost the same with just little improvements, enough to meet emissions. Yeah, very good move by Kawasaki to pretend that they were going to get rid of the KLR 650 altogether, and then 2 years later to bring it back, because that made a whole lot of sense now that I think about it. You know, they created a buzz behind the ending of the KLR 650, and there were so many people kind of upset with it because the KLR people do not want the KLR to really be changed. I think they're happy with the changes that they made, like the fuel injection and just like extending the swing arm, fixing the doohickey. But that was a brilliant move, and now they created this buzz from canceling it, and now they created a buzz from announcing it. It's brilliant. You know, Kawasaki doesn't spend as much money as Honda on marketing, or definitely a lot less than BMW. So it is nice to have a little buzz that they created almost entirely free. That is, it's brilliant. It paid off, I think. I think people started to think about the KLR as, yeah, we need basic motorcycles these days. We don't need a kitchen sink in our motorcycles. And I think we've moved away from that. We moved away from like basic bikes into like this world of luxury and electronics. And it's kind of incredible that we're moving away from this, and I think people are starting to realize that they do not need a bike that has all of these gadgets and gizmos, and they want to get back into the basics. And the most prominent change is the Yamaha Super Tenere, or the Yamaha Tenere 700. The Yamaha Tenere 700 is a bike that's basic. It's got like all the stuff that you need, but it doesn't give you any additional stuff like the BMWs. You don't have electronic suspension, you don't have anything. You have fuel injection, but that bike is really good. But think about it, you could get an old KLR 650, and that's going to be just as good of a bike as the Tenere. The Tenere 700, I know it's going to be popular, but it's popular because it's simple. It's popular because it's $10,000. The KLR 650, the new one, it's still at, what is $6,000, $7,000, so they did not up the price very much for the new KLR 650s. And you have to admire that. You have to admire that from Kawasaki for not gorging on the public. I really enjoy this bike, man. This is, it brings back the old style of riding, of just like simplicity. It makes me wonder really why I have a Super Tenere when this one does everything. But I have to admit, I am going to keep the Super Tenere because it's such a comfortable bike. It's powerful. It's not overly powerful, but this one, it's an entirely different bike. This one I would not mind you know, riding off-road in some mild trails. But the Super 10 Ray, it is just too big of a beast. This thing is heavy. I don't want to like pretend it's not a heavy bike. It is a heavy bike. But I thought when they were going to bring back the KLR that they were going to put in the Versys engine, the inline 2, because that's the way of the world. It's multi-cylinder sort of stuff. But now I realize, you know, there's nothing wrong with a single cylinder. It's less complex, it's easier to maintain. But the thing I don't like about this particular engine, and I prefer the Honda engine, is the adjustment of the valves is a little bit harder on this thing. I would, you know, use the shims. This one, the XR650L, which is the competitor, and the DR650 use a much simpler style of adjusting the shim or the valves. To me, that's kind of important, because you don't want to like take a KLR 650 for maintenance to a shop. Let's start to cost more than what the bike is worth. Alright, squids, that's my first ride on the KLR 650, man. It is really nice. It's very simple, it's very enjoyable. I love the vibration and the sound of the thumper. But I do need to change the oil and kind of work on it a little bit. I think I just need an oil change for the transmission to sound to work a little bit better. Alright, squids, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.